Hello, world. Welcome to the Fonz's office. Today, I have a very special guest with me. He's joined me all the way from the United Kingdom. He is the current reigning United Kingdom Boxing Council English heavyweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to the world Jack the Spartan Draper. Welcome to the show, Jack. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm very well, mate. Yourself?
I am doing very well, thank you. It's been a long time coming. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time now, and I really appreciate that you've made some time to come speak with me here at the Fonz's office.
No worries, mate. No worries. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So I would like to start off by asking you how you've been handling this whole situation with C-19, with COVID, right? And how it's basically turned the world upside down. How have you been handling this as a fighter who is now unable to get onto a combat surface and perform for the world? How are you doing it?
Well, to be fair, working still's probably kept me afloat. I've never been out of work. I've always managed to keep some kind of income coming in. So, I mean, for a fighter, that's important. On the other hand, I have missed out on potentially three fights now because of it. I was supposed to defend my UKBC heavyweight title at the end of March.
Right.
Got cancelled. And then, obviously, the Canadian fight, the title fight, got cancelled. And then, potentially, whoever won that fight goes on to fight the contenders as well, whenever the show would have been then. So that's three fights, 3 paydays that I've missed out on. It's not ideal, but
that's
there's no point crying about it.
Is that frustrating for you with having fights that you're preparing for and, you know, you're training, you're putting in the time, and then all of a sudden it's just non-existent and it's put on hold until who knows when?
Yeah, it is. It's very frustrating. It's like you said, you put all that time and hours into the gym, sacrifice a lot. You sacrifice spending time with your family. When everyone's eating pizza or such, whatever, I'm stuck eating salad or chicken and rice or something that's not that tasty. Do you know what I mean? Then for something to come out of nowhere and just completely shut everything off, it's like it's a proper smack in the mouth.
Right. I can just imagine. How has that now transpired into your own personal life? It must free up a little bit of extra time for you to spend with the family, at least.
Yeah, it did do. It did do. I spent a lot of time chilling with family. Well, as much as we could do, really. We did. It motivated me to get out, tidy up the back garden, get it cleaned out, and bought a little swimming pool and all that for the kids to play in. So, with that respect, it motivated me to get up and do that, I suppose. The missus has been nagging at me for ages to do it, and now I finally had an opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I'm actually getting a lot of stuff done around here as well that I was putting off before, but now that we've got this extra time, I'm managing to get that in. So there is a little bit of benefits to this whole thing, but overall, I agree. So you, as I've introduced you to the world, you are the reigning United Kingdom Boxing Council English heavyweight champion. Would you like to discuss a little bit about your fight that you had that won you that title?
I fought a guy called Martin Wappington. He must have been about five stone heavier than me.
Wow.
Which I don't know what that is in pounds, but obviously it's a lot heavier. And he was quite an experienced boxer from what I've seen. He's fought some names. He even fought Mickey Parker, who's a bare knuckle fighter who fights for BKB. I think they had a boxing match. I think they had a gloved boxing match. So yeah, he'd been around the block a little bit. So, and I was supposed to fight someone else, but they pulled out about I think about 4 weeks or so before the show. And then Martin got the phone call and he stepped up.
Excellent. Well, that alone is speaking volumes for him, that he was willing to take a short notice fight, not having that full camp in.
100%.
And also for it being for a title. So that's beautiful. You came out that night victorious. You got yourself the championship belt. How are you feeling once your hand was raised in victory at the end of that night?
It was the best feeling ever, really. It was only yeah. Hello, Ron. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
It was the best feeling ever. It only took 30 seconds to get my hand raised as well, which is even better.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a short night at the office. You don't get paid for overtime.
That's exactly right. Take care of business and take care of business quickly.
Yeah, exactly that. Especially in the bare knuckle game, the last thing you want to be doing is having a long fight. Obviously, potentially getting cuts, broken hands, all sorts of things. Do you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that definitely topped the night off. Doing it in 30 seconds.
Nice. Now, you had mentioned that you were set to defend that title. Unfortunately, C19 put a damper on that and it postponed it. Is there anything in the works for potentially being able to defend that belt in the near future?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm good friends with a guy who owns that promotion. He also trained me. And he said to me before, he said, "Do you want to defend it?" I said, "Yeah, of course." I said, "You're not a champion until you defend your belts." But obviously, it all depends on what comes up at the time. The thing is, the best thing about him, I've got no rush to defend it.
Right.
Because at that time, I was actually supposed to retire from bare knuckle boxing.
Okay.
From fighting in general. So that was going to be basically my retirement fight. And I wanted to walk away from bare knuckle fighting with some kind of belt.
Right.
But once I won that belt and I got the buzz back for it, sort of kind of thing. And
absolutely.
It just I was like, right, I'm not ready to give this up just yet.
Excellent. And that also offers you a little bit of extra clout when it comes to trying to find other fights, because now you can have a fight like the one that was scheduled with Canadian Bare Knuckle Boxing against Bobby Zombie Brents, which that fight was essentially a champion versus champion title fight.
Yeah, it is. They're the kind of fights that I'm after now. I won't shy away from anyone. As you know, I called out Shannon Briggs. I called out Mike Tyson when I heard that he was apparently wanting to have a bare knuckle fight.
Right.
There's no one I won't fight.
Absolutely.
People were saying to me when I called out Mike Tyson, I called him out. I just put on one of his posts about it saying, look, I'd love to introduce you to the sport.
Right.
But people were saying to me, you're mad. Why would you want to fight him? And I'm looking at him like, why wouldn't I want to fight him? I'm a fighter. Fighters fight the best there is, or supposed to.
See, that's something that you don't see a whole lot of. We're seeing it more and more again, but it seems like for a short period of time there was a big group of fighters that flooded the market that appeared to be really good. They had great records, but potentially had a little bit of padded records. What I'm seeing with yourself is what I call a real fighter, a true fighter, someone who is in there willing to test themselves and their skills against the best that the world has to offer. And you, sir, are that kind of fighter. And I respect the hell out of you for that.
Definitely. It's the only way you're going to be known. The reason why I started doing bare knuckle boxing in the first place is because no one from my area was doing it. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna give this a go. I've always loved the sport anyway. It's always been something part of me growing up. But I want my name to be remembered. And your name ain't gonna be remembered by fighting fucking some geezer that's just fell out of a pub, pissed out of his face. You're going to make a name for yourself by fighting the best out there and possibly beating them.
Right. Well, that's a perfect segue into an opponent that you did face, and you faced some adversity while fighting him, and that's a man by the name of Shannon the Cannon Rich. Now, there is a name that is world known, right, in both the world of MMA as well as the world of bare knuckle boxing, and you managed to have a fight against one of these guys like Shannon Rich, who has a extensive background in bare knuckle boxing. Would you like to express a little bit about that fight and how that went for you?
Yeah, the fight itself doesn't feel real. It's fighting a man of his caliber for my first bare knuckle fight and beating him. To me, it's I look at that fight every now and again and I'm like, oh shit, I fought Shannon Rich and I beat him. Like, to me, that's memorable for me. That like, my grandkids will be talking about that. My granddad beat. Do you know what I mean? That's for me. That's a big thing. And all credits to Shannon, because the man can punch. Even to this day, I have never ever been hit so hard in my life.
That overhand right of his, eh?
Right.
You felt the cannon go boom.
How I was still on my feet in that fight, I have no idea. Obviously, I've got a tough chin, but yeah, that man is dangerous with his hands.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there any potential? There's absolutely the potential, but is there any desire in yourself to maybe one day run that fight back?
100%. I mean, me talking as a fighter now. I mean, Shannon is a really good friend of mine. I will never ever disrespect the man.
Absolutely.
But I personally think that fight would have gone that way either way, because obviously there was a situation with the eye poke.
Correct.
Which, in respects to Shannon, eye pokes are fucking horrible. And I could understand that might have affected his vision or any kind of thing like that. But the way I look at it is, the way that fight still went, I took his best punches. He couldn't finish me, and I caught him with shots, but I don't feel that I caught him with clean, full-on blows. My punches that were really glancing shots.
Okay.
If you watch the video back, that like the shots are really just like sort of bounce off his head. None of them were like not how he thought being clean. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So I would love to have that rematch with him. I know it'll be a war. It'll be a really good fight.
Absolutely.
Good fight. And I know Shannon wants it as well. I know he won't shy away from it. That man never shies away from anybody.
No,
so,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm like yourself. I'm friends with him as well, and I respect the hell out of him. And there's something wonky in my brain, I guess, but I love it when I see two friends of mine fighting one another. You know, it gets that mutual respect out there. Now, I'm not talking about just everyday friends, but I mean when two fighter friends of mine are willing to go head to head against each other, that just does something for me. Hey, I love to see that. So I would love to see that fight get rebooked again on a global stage. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, the thing is with me and Shannon, we're friends in this sport and we're friends out of this sport, but we both know when it comes down to crunch time, that friendship's out the window and we're going to hurt each other. And then we're back to friends afterwards. That's how this game works.
Yeah, it sure does. You get to punch each other in the face, and then 20 minutes later, once everything's all done, you get to go out and have a beer together and shake hands. That's make some plans for the weekend. Yeah, I love that. So those are two of your bare knuckle fights that we've discussed. You've got two other that are on your record. Would you like to shed a little light on those two?
Yeah, my second fight was against Greg Main. To be fair to Greg, he's become like a little household name in BKB now.
He is.
His name's up. His name's up there now. But I can't take, even though the punch I caught him with was a good punch, and it did do some really bad damage to his face. I can't take too much credit because he stepped in on, I think, 2 weeks' notice.
Yes.
So I'm not really going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I battered him left, right, and centre, blah blah blah, because he took it on 2 weeks' notice. I think I would have done it regardless if he had a full camp anyway. But
Sure.
that's just the confidence I have in myself. Like I said, I don't care who's in front of me. I feel that I can mix it up with anyone.
Absolutely.
But like I said, he's a tough man. He's fought some good names in BKB. I think he's supposed to have another fight coming up as well. And on top of that, Greg Main is probably one of the nicest blokes you could possibly meet.
He really
Honest
is.
to God, he's a really, really genuine, nice bloke. Me and him were sitting, before our fight, we were sitting backstage drinking a cup of tea and eating Jaffa cakes before we were fighting.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the game for you. It's just because you're a nice person and you're friendly doesn't mean that you can't fight and you're not willing to kick the shit out of each other.
Absolutely. I see a very high level of professionalism from the fighters who do step in to the ring and with the gloves off and participate in the bare knuckle boxing and the bare knuckle fighting. There really does seem to be a high level of respect, and that's what it's all about in my books, man. I love that. I love to see two fighters who respect themselves and respect one another and can conduct themselves in a professional manner.
Yeah, it's a gentleman's sport.
Absolutely.
So this you're gonna surround yourself with gentlemen, but these gentlemen can fight.
Absolutely.
That's the only difference. There's no. I feel with bare knuckle, the politics than what there is in pros, where the best don't fight the best, is non-existent. In bare knuckle, the best will fight the best. There's no hiding fighters. There's no easy fights. It's just you get in there, you have a 50-50 fight, and who comes out on top comes out on top. That's the way the sport is.
I agree. Now you got one more bare knuckle bout that you went through under, I believe it was still the BKB UK banner.
BKB, yeah, Mason Shaw. Nah,
yes.
Me and Mason, we're good friends as well. And me and Mason's trainer Matt are good friends. We have a laugh all the time. And what happened with that fight? So when I fought Greg Main, I got an injured hand. So I had quite a long time out. I fought in September, and I didn't get back to training until after Christmas.
Okay.
So that's, what's that, 4 months, 4.5 months of no training, eating pure shit. I went from 15 stone 3 pound to about 19 stone 10 pound in that time.
That's a big jump.
I put a lot of weight on. But once my hand was back better again, I was like, right, actually, I want to fight again now. So I arranged a fight for March, and I was supposed to be fighting a guy called Sean Chezza.
Okay.
That's how you play it, Chezza. And the fight was going to be made of 17 stone, which I thought, yeah, that's okay. That's 2.5 stone. I can make that, no problem. Then it got to the end of January, and it was actually the day my little boy was being born.
Wow.
I've got a phone call from Jim, the promoter of BKB, saying basically Sean's pulled out, and Mason Shaw's opponent's pulled out.
Right.
He said, and the only way me and Mason can fight on that show is if we fight each other, which at the time was a bit of a kick in the teeth because me and Mason had arranged to come to each other's camps and spar with each other to help each other get ready for the fight.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I said, we're fighters, so we fight. So we both agreed to it, and yeah, the things went on. But there was a lot going on in my life at that time, not using that as an excuse at all, because I still come away with a draw. I had, obviously, my little boy was just born, so that was the first thing.
Right.
I was sleeping on the sofa for the rest of that training camp because baby screaming and
Yeah.
whatnot. I lost my job as well, so having that sort of worrying about going to the gym, getting fit, but now I'm also worrying about how I'm gonna feed everyone, feed my little boy, and all stuff like that. So
Yes.
it kind of, in a way, I'd like to say, the depression sort of set in a little bit during that training camp.
Okay.
And then there was just I was struggling with the weight as well, which was the other thing that which obviously wasn't helping me out at all, because now I had to lose. I was supposed to be fighting at 17 stone, and they wanted this fight at 16.5 stone.
Right.
So now I've got to lose an extra half a stone, which when I'd already lost 2.5 stone or whatever I'd lost already, it was like, okay, I could do it, or I try to do it, but it was just more added stress to me, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does make sense. Absolutely.
But I mean, we got in there, we had the fight, and I think we can both openly admit the fight was boring. Not a whole lot went on. We both had good little spells. I suppose he caught me with some clean shots. I caught him with some shots back. And yeah, like I said, we come away with a draw. I know he thinks he won the fight. And looking back at the fight, I'm not going to sit here and say I think I won, because I don't think I won. But I don't think I lost either. I don't think either of us did enough to turn the judges' heads.
I agree. I agree. And the final decision of a draw, in my opinion, that's the correct decision on that fight.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a. It was one of the things, and the thing was as well, like me and Mason have said, we're both at the time we were both 23 years old. We were the youngest lads on the circuit. It didn't make sense that they rushed to put me and him in the ring together so quickly.
Right.
I personally, I would have rather they built us both up. Like obviously fighting all the same opponents, beating all the same opponents. Then all of a sudden you've got these two young kids at the same age, all fought the same opponents, all beat them, and it would have built the fight out to be a lot more than what it was. It would have probably earned the promotion a lot more money. Would have earned us a lot more money. Then yeah, but let's say but it is what it is, isn't it? It's one of those things. But credits to Mason now though, because he's dropped God knows how much more weight. I think he's around the 14 stone mark now.
I believe
which
so.
I would never in a million years be able to get to that now. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, that's not a bit of me, but
no.
He's smashing the game, and he's gonna do really well in it.
Right. So now that you've had your experience over there in the UK, bare knuckle is not the only discipline that you fought. You've fought some glove boxing bouts as well.
Yeah.
Would you care to talk a little bit maybe about your upbringing and how that led you into the world of combat sports, which included the glove boxing bouts as well?
Yeah, I mean the town I'm from, Chatham, it's a fighting town. A lot of boxers have come in and out of there. We've had we've had a world champion come out of Chatham back in the early 2000s, 90s. It was a really good friend of my dad actually. So that's kind of watching him growing up was kind of what got my passion for boxing.
Nice.
But I've also been growing up a lot around general tough men. Been brought up a lot around Gypsy Travelers.
Yes.
I've seen how I didn't have a tough upbringing at all. I had the most loveliest parents you could ask for. We had everything we needed. There was never no violence in the house, nothing. Nice. But at the same time, my dad, when he was young, when he was my age, was he was a character. He was a very known man, violent man. And I think for me, growing up, hearing all of his stories, every kid wants to be like their dad, don't they?
Yeah, I did.
So I did as well. And And as much as he would always sit there and tell me what I did, you shouldn't want to be like that. It's not a good thing. It's bad. It's this. It's that. But kids don't hear that. Do you know what I mean? Kids see this man, and everyone talk about him. Everyone knows him. Everyone's, oh, you see your dad. He's this. He's that. And I love that. I love that my dad was that sort of person. So yeah, that kind of got my I always knew I was going to be a fighter at some point, whether it be boxing, MMA, because I loved UFC and all that sort of stuff as well.
Sure.
And yeah, so I always knew it was going to come. It was just a matter of when.
Right. So with
yeah, go on.
With things being a little different over in the UK than they are over here in North America, you touched on the Gypsy Travelers, and would you like to explain maybe to the fans over here in North America exactly what Gypsy traveling fighters are?
But they're the same as us, really. They're lads. Obviously, Gypsy Travelers. They all live on caravan sites. Some of them are settled, which means they live in houses and stuff, or they live in a caravan, but they're on a set site and they don't move around. But a lot of kids, they grow up without that. Even to this day and age, really. So a lot of them, they grow up without the PlayStations, all that sort of stuff, and they go out, play, they go out, they ride horses, they do whatever they do. But boxing's always been a thing with travellers or gypsies. Right. You get a lot of them that box in the amateurs, and they make good fighters. It's just in their blood. It's in their blood. It's what they do. Now going back to how far back that goes, I wouldn't have a clue. But I can't think of one gypsy that I personally know that has not picked up the boxing gloves at some point in their life. Right. And some of them, obviously, they take it further. But the thing is with the gypsies, the bare knuckle fights, normally for them, it comes from family feuds. Like two traveller families might not get along, two gypsy families might not get along. Right. And for them, the safest way to solve that, instead of going around each other's houses with bats, knives, and all that sort of stuff like people seem to do in this day and age, they will send out two of their fighters, who could box. Both families now will probably put some money up as well, so the fighters can get paid. Yeah. And they will fight for their family's name. And it's once that fight's done, they shake hands, and they go to the pub, they have a beer, and it's forgotten about until the next argument. And it's just how they work. And what a wonderful way to settle differences between two groups of people or two families. That just go right back to the raw, stripped down form. It is. Keep taking him out. It's just, for me, it's the safest way possible to deal with things. Right. If you're that way inclined, and you want to fight and all that sort of stuff, it is the safest way to deal with those kind of situations. Right. No one's going to get stabbed. No one's going to get no family's going to get hurt. Two proper men are going to settle their differences with ease. Right. They both get to go home to their families, and that's it. Not this day and age. It's easier to pick up a gun or a knife. That's for some reason. That's how people are. Yeah. It seems like over in the UK, that the knife seems to be the weapon of choice amongst these punks that are out there on the streets. Right? Yeah, knife crime over here is really bad at the moment. No hesitation in pulling a knife these days either. But the thing that really plays in my mind is these guys, they're quick to pull a knife, but they're scared to stand there and have a fight with someone. I can't get my head past that. Me neither. To me, fighting doesn't hurt. Being punched in the face doesn't hurt. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a confrontational person. Right. And I don't like confrontation. Right. But the same time, I won't shy away from a fight either.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would much rather stand there and have a fight with someone all day long than pick up a knife and stab someone. I haven't got it in me to do that, I don't think.
No, I've seen a few YouTube videos, right, of people that have pulled a knife on somebody they shouldn't have, because the first thing that happens when they do, or when they threaten to, is they get a good fistful right in the nose like they deserve. And then all of a sudden they shut up and they're going the other way. Right?
Yeah. Well, it happened to me, didn't it? I was doing security at a nightclub. We threw a guy out who kept trying to cause fights upstairs.
Right.
We threw him out, and the first thing he did was take his top off. And he was effing and blinding, and we kept saying to him, "Mate, go away, go away."
Yeah.
And he called me a pikey and said he was going to stab me. Now, a pikey is basically like calling a black man the N-word for gypsies.
Okay, okay.
I'm not a gypsy. My nan's family are Irish gypsies, but I don't class myself as one anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so he called me a pikey, which I said is basically a racist word for a gypsy.
Right.
And then he said he was going to stab me. And with that, I leaned forward and bang, I hit him and knocked him straight out. And I thought, you ain't going to be stabbing anyone, mate.
Yeah.
And I think I showed you the video to it.
I've seen that video, yes.
And I remember someone posted it up on social media, and I see a lot of people's comments were saying, "So where's the knife? Where's this? Why didn't he pull the knife out? Oh, it's just another doorman being a bully." And in my eyes, with this world at the minute, so if someone threatens to pull a knife out, you can't take the chance of that. You've either got to run away or you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to stab me, and I can't exactly run away. I'm working. So, my eyes, if you're going to say you're going to do it, you best step up to the plate, mate. And within a split second, he was laying on his back wondering what the fuck happened.
Right. And that's exactly what he deserved for that as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you've got this experience over in the UK, we are now trying to get you some competition over here in North America. You've decided that that bare knuckle is absolutely, you're going to keep pursuing with this. You're now a renowned champion over in the UK, and you're wanting to bring those skills over here to North America. You've touched base that you would be willing to fight guys like Shannon Briggs, like Mike Tyson, LeVar Johnson. We've talked about quite a few of these names that you would be highly respected. You would highly respectfully like to fight. These aren't guys that you're like, oh, I don't like this guy, blah. You're wanting to fight the top names over here in North America in a respectful way, because you belong right there on that combat surface with them, and you want to show the world that that's exactly what you are and who you are.
Definitely. I don't need to hate someone to want to fight them. We could be good friends, and if the competition steps up, then we have to fight. We have to fight. It's as simple as that.
Right.
But like you said, the likes of LeVar Johnson and Shannon Briggs, all these guys, Mike Tyson, Bobby Brents, they're all household names. They're all big names. They're all making a name for themselves on a worldwide stage. I mean, obviously, LeVar Johnson's obviously UFC. Shannon Briggs is fucking world boxing champion.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's greatest heavyweight that's ever lived. And these, like I said, these are the guys that I want to fight purely for my own benefits. I've got nothing respect for anyone. I won't sit here and shit talk anyone. It's not what I do. If someone wants to try and shit talk me or whatever, then I'll just laugh at them. I'll ignore it. I won't let them get under my skin.
Yeah, no.
I don't feel the need to shit talk people. We're gonna fight regardless of what you say or do. So,
absolutely.
And I'm not the type of fighter either to get drawn into
trying to make me fight angry, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm too laid back to do that. So I don't see the point in I can call the fighter out, but I can still do it in a respectful way.
Absolutely.
And that's how I do things. I don't feel the need to slag anyone off.
Right. Now, we had previously we started off the interview with mentioning it, that pre C19 we got you scheduled over here in Canada for the Canadian Bare Knuckle Boxing Heavyweight Championship bout versus the current reigning champion, Bobby Zombie Brents. Then COVID came and messed up everything, messed up the plans, put everything postponed. Is there a desire within you to still have that fight rebooked and to go on and face the Canadian Bare Knuckle champion?
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't think of nothing more to come over to Canada and fight Bobby. He said he's the first Canadian Bare Knuckle Boxing champion.
Correct.
I'd like to be the second.
Very nice.
But
I would like for you to be the second as well.
But at the same time, I think the only thing to do now at the moment is, like I said, keep myself in shape, tick over, and we need to see a little bit more out, because I know they obviously was trying to get a show set up for September, but that's around the same sort of time they're talking about another second wave of COVID, and there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air that's unanswered.
That's true.
Due to this virus. So, I mean, for me to save for my mental state, I think I'm just gonna cruise along, getting myself fit, getting my body back where I need it to be. And then once COVID's basically gone in the wind, then we can sit down and discuss a proper fight, arrange them, because no one wants to arrange a fight, get ready for it with the potential knowing in the back of your mind at any point it could still get cancelled.
Correct.
Because of what's
I
going on.
understand that.
So we need to, I think for me, the best thing for me, for my mental state, is just to wait it out until things are completely calmed down. There's no more talks of any more waves. There's no more deaths. Like everything's gone back to reality, really.
Right. And it's not a lot of the common fans. They're not familiar with the process that a fighter has to go through once they're offered a fight to be able to qualify themselves for that fight. There's medicals that have to be done. You know, there's all this stuff. And now with COVID affecting the world, it's not like you can just go into your doctor's office and get this stuff done. This is stuff that takes some timing and planning. Can you speak a little on that?
Yeah, it's over here, doctors aren't seeing anyone face to face at the moment. Still, they're doing things over the phone. Because obviously I need to get a blood test done, and I need to get that medical form filled out, which I can go get a blood test done, but I've got to pay for it out of my own money for what it's for, because it's, in our eyes, to them, it's not important to be done for free.
Right.
Which, okay, I don't mind anyway. It's not going to cost a lot. But obviously the medical form that needs to be filled out, I need to be face to face with his doctor, because he needs to take my blood pressure, he needs to take my height, my weight.
Correct.
All these other things that he's got to do, which can't be done because they're not seeing anyone. So obviously that's a big worry as well at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Last
for
thing
yourself,
you want is not to fight for a medical.
Yeah, for yourself to fight at your top level against a top level champion like Bobby Zombie Brents, you would want to have a full, I would say 8 week, 8 week, 10 week camp, right?
Yeah.
To be able to prepare yourself, get all those medicals and all that kind of stuff in line, and all of that, right?
Yeah, 100%. See, some fighters they will step up to the plate and take fights short notice, and
sure,
and they will do that, and nothing but respect to those guys. But I won't do that.
Right.
I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that, and I don't want to go into a fight and already have an excuse of losing before I've even fought.
Right.
Because these guys that have stepped up on a couple of weeks' notice, a week's notice, that chances are they could lose because they're not fit. But they'll come out and they'll say, yeah, I've done all right, but I've only been training a week or two, so I'm not really that fit. It would have been a different story. See, I don't ever want that. If I go into a fight and I lose, I have lost purely because that guy's the better man.
Right. And that's the way you want the outcome to come, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's how it's got to be. So I will never step into a fight without a full training camp. Without this, I just won't do it.
Well, with a man like Bobby Zombie Brents and the history that he has, the man has some heavy hands. The man is a great mover. He's got good footwork. He's got good movement. And he put that on display, and he stopped Donald Wanch, and he won the Canadian Bare Knuckle Boxing belt. So, yeah, you know, it's not like you're just stepping in there against an everyday Joe. You're going against the champion, and you want to be able to put on a performance that the whole world will remember.
Yeah, exactly. He's obviously Bobby's a tough man. I've seen what he can do. I've seen who he's fought, and he's been around a long time. And like I said, you should never take anyone lightly anyway. It doesn't matter if the guy's had one fight or 100. You should train solid for everybody every time.
I agree.
But when for me, when I got someone like Bobby in front of me, it motivates me more to get in the gym.
Sure.
To put in that hard work. When I know if I go into a fight knowing that I'm fighting a guy that's not up to much scratch, I will still train, but that hunger to get out of bed in the morning sometimes ain't there.
I can understand.
I have to force myself. Where when I'm fighting someone that likes of Bobby or Shannon Rich or someone like when I fought him, I trained like I'd never trained before in my life. I was so motivated because I knew I had a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that fight being postponed and tentatively trying to be scheduled for somewhere in the near future, obviously we can't just put your world on hold, right? We got to still be pursuing other options, possibly something still over in the UK or you know, but there are some other things that are currently in the works that also were postponed. I know that you know what I'm leading to here. Are you able to speak towards that at all, and to some of the other things that are being set up?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not allowed to say too much because obviously it's not been announced yet. But there's a TV show that's going to be happening. It's for bare knuckle fighters. And all I can say is it's the bare knuckles version of the Ultimate Fighter. And when it's announced, it's a big thing. It's life changing. It's that big.
Nice.
So yeah, that's not. They have said though that is not happening until COVID is gone and it's done. There's no more comebacks from it.
Right.
Everything's back to normal. So however long that could be, who knows? But it's there in the works and it's waiting to come up.
Yeah, well, I sure hope that that kind of stuff happens sooner rather than later. Yeah. But as you alluded to earlier, they are expecting a second wave to come rushing through the world somewhere around September, October, which can very well put everything back on lockdown again. And really nobody wants that, right? We kind of want to go on safely in the world, with the world back to how it was. And with the currently things being postponed, it's frustrating as a fan, it's frustrating as a fighter, it's frustrating as a promoter, as a matchmaker. It's got to be frustrating for the production crew of the television show, you know, but all of that stuff, it is going to be behind us one day. And when it is, I'm telling you, the world better be on notice, because the Spartan, Jack Draper, he is one hell of a good fighter. He is a respectable man. He is respectful. And the man is going to be coming after all of those top names out there in the world. Whether you're an MMA fighter, a boxer, a kickboxer, if you're willing to fight bare knuckle, Jack Draper is willing to fight you. And when he does, you're going to know that you've been in a fight, and I guarantee it. Jack, is there anything else you would like to add in before we conclude here? Do you have anybody you would like to shout out? Anybody you would like to mention?
I think the biggest thank you that could possibly go out there has got to be to my trainer, Pete Stoughton.
Pete's a great guy.
He's not just a trainer. He's a father figure. He's the godfather to my little boy. Well, our relationship. I can walk into the gym, and he will know what kind of mood I'm in just by my how I walk into the gym. We have that kind of relationship,
yes,
and it works. I listen. I never question anything he says. Everything he does it for a reason. He will sit up at night time studying things for us to do, and he's also my sparring partner as well as my trainer. So we beat the shit out of each other, and he's telling me how to beat the shit out of him sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just how we are. But yeah, the biggest props goes to him and what he's done for me. Because without him, there wouldn't be a bare knuckle fighter in me.
Right. Well, from what I've seen, the man is also a very respected gentleman, and he's doing one hell of a good job with you as well. And I can hardly wait until the day comes when you get on that plane and you fly over here to North America. I'll be boarding my own plane. I'll be flying out there to watch you fight, and I can hardly wait for that day. And I sure as hell hope that Pete comes with you as well, because I respect the man, and I would love to meet him too.
Yeah, he'd be out there with me, 100%. I wouldn't go out there without him.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear. Well, Jack Draper, I really appreciate you making the time today. I'm sure that the world out there appreciates it as well. All of the fans here in North America, they get to feel and hear a little bit about who you are and what makes Jack Draper the bare knuckle boxer that he is. And I really respect you, my man. And I'm thanking you one more time for coming and making the time today.
Lovely. Thank you very much, mate. It's good to speak to you.
Awesome, my friend. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Fonz's office. This interview today, you can see my sponsors back here on the board. This one particularly was sponsored by my man, CBD Man. CBD Man is the man for you to contact for all your CBD needs. I am the Fonz. He is the Spartan, Jack Draper, and we are signing out from the Fonz's office.